Hello my friends, today we're learning Bava Basra Daf Kuf Ayin. We're going to start from Kuf Samech Tes Omid Beis by the two dots. So we learned in the Brisa, Rab Shem Gamliel Oima Anoitze Matana Lechaveroi V'Ichzelo Yisashtar Chozra Matanosoi V'Chachom Oimim Matanosoi Kayemes. We have here Machloikes between Rab Shimon and Gamliel and Chachomim. What's the din if Reuven gave Shimon a matana, a piece of land, and he gave him a shtar saying this is your piece of land, and then Shimon gave back to Reuven the shtar, the document. Does that mean by giving back the document that the land also goes back to Reuven or not? Rab Shimon Gamliel says yes, and Chachom says not. Let's read the Gemara. My time at Rab Shimon Gamliel Amar Rav Asi Nasek Omer Lo Sadeh Ze Netuna Lecha Kol Zman She'ashtar Be'adcha Matkif L'Rabba Yachi Mignavo Avad Nami אלא המרבה באותיות נקנות במסירה כמפלגי. רב שמעון סבר אותיות נקנות במסירה, ורבנו סברי אין אותיות נקנות במסירה. So we want to understand why by giving back the shtar does the lad go back לפי שיטת רב שמעון גמליאל. So Rav Asi says that when someone gives someone a present, it's as if he tells them, I'm giving you this field, but this on condition that the document stays by you, and you lose a document when the document's not by you anymore, the field doesn't become yours, it's not yours anymore. Therefore, if he gives back the shtar Shimon to Reuven, so the field's not his anymore. On that, Rabbi asks the kasha, doesn't make sense. If that's a condition, what's the case if Shimon never gave back the shtar to Reuven? Shimon lost, or someone stole the shtar off him. If the condition is that's only yours when you have the shtar, he doesn't have the shtar anymore, the field's not his anymore, and it doesn't make any sense. Why should he lose the field because he lost the shtar? So says Rav, I'll tell you what the machloikis between Rab Shimon Gamliel and Rabbanon is oisiyos niknis b'mesira or not. Meaning if Reuven has a shtar, or let's say in our case, Shimon has a shtar that this field belongs to him, if he gives this shtar to someone else, that he should be kohen of the field, gives it to Levi or back to Reuven, whoever it is, and it says that this field belongs, this field, Shimon Goa Matana, and he gives it now to Levi or to Reuven, is that kinyan on the what says in the shtar? That means, can you be kohen of that, what's in the shtar, and the shtar of this field? So by that giving it to Levi, does it become Levi's field or Reuven's field, whoever he gives it to? So Rab Shimon Gamliel holds oisiyos niknas by Mesira, and therefore, if Shimon gave back the shtar to Reuven, so the field becomes Reuven's. And Chacham holds oisiyos non niknas by Mesira. If he wants to be makneh the field, he has to make a new shtar on the field. He can't use the old shtar to do that kinyan. And that's the machloikis. So he comes out over here. The rabbi explains that if Rab Shimon Gamliel oisiyos or niknas b'mesira. That's an important point that we have to remember for the continuation of the Gemara. So let's read the continuation of the Gemara. Tanu Rabbanana, ba lidon bashtar o b'chazaka, lidon bashtar divrei Rebbe. רב שמעון גמליאל אומר בחזקה, במאי כמפלגי? כי עתה רב דימי אמר באותיות נקנות במסירה כמפלגי. ק"ע עמוד א'. רב שמעון גמליאל סבר אין אותיות נקנות במסירה, ורבי סבר אותיות נקנות במסירה. אמר לאביי, אם כן פלוגתא לדמה? אמר לי ותפלוג. אמר לי אחי קח מן הלך, מתנית אלוהים מתרצה אלא כדמתרצה מר, ואם כן קשיא דרב שמעון בן גמליאל עד רב שמעון גמליאל, אלא אמר אביי אחא במאי עסקינן, כגון שנמצא אחד מהם קרוב או פסול. ופלוגתא דרמר ורב אלעזר כמפלגי. רבי סבר לה כרב אלעזר דאמר עדי מסירה קרתי, ורב שמעון גמליאל סבר לה כרמר דאמר עדי חתימה קרתי. ואמר רב אבא מודה היה רב אלעזר במזויף מתוכו שהוא פסול, אלא אמר רבי אבינה הכל מודים שאם כתוב בו הוזקקנו לעדותם של עדים ונמצאת עדותם מזויפת שהוא פסול כדרב אבא, לא נחלקו אלא בשטר שאין עליו עדים כלל. דרבי סבר לה כרב אלעזר דאמר עדי מסירה קרתי, רב שמעון גמליאל סבר לה כרמר דאמר עדי חתימה קרתי. So we can explain outside. So we learned in the Brisa, so we have an argument over here between Reuven and Shimon about a field. Reuven says it belongs to me, and I have two rayas. Raya number one is I have a shtar saying that I bought it off Shimon. Raya number two is I have a chazaka, I've been in here 3 years, and therefore I don't even need a shtar. So Rebbe says that the shtar is good enough, you follow the shtar and you don't need anything else. And Rab Shimon Gamliel says no, he needs to prove Eidei Chazaka and not the shtar. So the Gemara asks, what's exactly the machlokes? What's the situation over here? So, and we know normally that shtar by itself is good enough, and a chazaka without a shtar is also good enough if it's been there 3 years and he says I lost my shtar. So when Rav Dimi came, he said, I'll tell you what's a machlokes over here. The situation is over here that Reuven had a star that he bought it off, that he had a star that said that Shimon sold the field to Levi, and Reuven has a star saying that Levi bought it off Shimon, and he says here, this is a star that Levi gave it to me because I bought it off Levi, and this is the star saying that Shimon sold it to Levi, and therefore it's mine, and I have chazaka. The Rebbe holds oisios and niknes b'mesira, and therefore the star that Levi bought the field off Shimon is good raya that now belongs to Reuven, because Reuven says Levi gave me the star and now it belongs to me, the karaka, and therefore Reuven utain is I have a star and a chazaka. It's good enough a star. We don't need to come to the chazaka. Star is much stronger than chazaka. And Reb Shimon Gamliel holds no. Oisius eno niknes b'mesira, and therefore giving the star from Levi to Reuven doesn't make it his field. So the only raya to prove that the field belongs to Reuven is alidei chazaka. That's why we need chazaka and not the star. It says the Gemara Kuf Ayim, Abaye told Rav Dimi, it can't make sense. If so, you're arguing on Rabbah. Rabbah before said Rab Shimon Gamliel holds that oisios niknes b'mesira, and over here it comes out that Rab Shimon Gamliel holds ein oisios niknes b'mesira. So you're arguing on Rabbah. So Rav Dimi told him, yeah, I argue on him. I have no problem with Rabbah, to argue on Rabbah. So Abaye told Rav Dimi, I don't mean to say you're arguing Rabbah. I mean to say much more than that. The brayso before the Rabbah explained that comes out of Shimon Gamliel hold oisios niknes b'mesira. There's no other way to explain it, and it must be pshat over there that Shimon Gamliel holds oisios niknes b'mesira, and therefore, lefi the brayso over there and the way you explaining Rav Dimi, it's a steer between Rav Shimon Gamliel and Rav Shimon Gamliel, and there's no solution out of it. Therefore, says Abaye, I have a whole new way of explaining the machlokes over here of Rav Shimon Gamliel and Rabbanon and Rebbe. What's the machlokes? The machlokes is that it's talking about not that the star that Reuven has, it's a star from Levi. No, it's a star that Shimon sold the field to Reuven. That's the raya of Reuven that the field belongs to him. But the star, the Eidim that are signed in the star, one of them is Posel. He's a Gazlin, or he's a Korov to one of the sides of the Balei Dinim. So therefore, mitzad the Eidim in the star is not worth anything. But we have Eidim, accepted that they're written in the star. There's another two Eidim who are kosher Eidim, who are testifying that we saw Shimon giving over the star to Reuven. And the machlokes of Rebbe and Shimon Gamliel depends on the machlokes of Rebbe and Rabbi Lezer. But in the machlokes of Rebbe and Rabbi Lezer, what's the ikar Eidim in the star? Is it the Eidim in the star, or the Eidim that they see that the star was given over, even if they're not written in the star? So Rebbe holds, like Rabbi Lezer, that holds that the ikar Eidim is giving over. And therefore, even though that these Eidim that are written in the star that Reuven bought off Shimon in the star apostle, but there's other Eidim that see that the star was given over, and therefore the star is a good star because the Ikar Eidim is giving over, and we have such good Eidim, and therefore Rebbe holds in such a case when the guy Reuven says I have such a star and the chazaka, we don't need the chazaka, the star is kosher. And Reb Shimon Gamliel holds no, like Reb Meir, that Ikar Eidim is the one that are written in the star, and since the Eidim that are written in the star are Korov apostles, so it's a portion of the star, so the star is not good. So the only raya Reuven has is a chazaka. That's why we have to come to a chazaka. As the Gemara, but Rav Abba says that even Rabbi Lezer who holds the Eidim Isira character, that the Ikar Eidim is giving over, not written in the star, but Rabbi Lezer agrees that if the star itself is mezuyif, that means it's not good star, it has a false in it. So that we have Eidim of giving over the star doesn't help, because we're giving over a bad star. And in this case, that the Eidim in the star, one of them was a Korov apostle, so the star is apostle, so it doesn't help anything having Eidim that the star was given over. Very good, but it was a bad star given over, and therefore how could the Rebbe hold that the star is a good star? So it says Rav Avina that everyone admit really that if they checked and they saw, if it says a star and Bezdin said we looked at the star and the Eidim and we saw that the Eidim are fake, that even Rabbi Lozo holds that the Ikka of the Eidim is given over, not what's written in it, and we have Eidim that was given over, but because Besdin said that the Eidim in the Shtar Apostle, it's not a good Shtar even Lefi Rabbi Lozo, like what Rav Abba said. So what's the case over here of the Machloikas of Rabbi and Rav Shimon Gamliel? A similar case, but not exactly the same case. It's talking about Reuven has a Shtar that says that he bought this field of Shimon, and there's no Eidim in the Shtar. There's only Eidim saying that they saw Shimon giving over the Shtar to Reuven. So Rebbe, who holds that we could follow the Shtar, that it's a good Shtar, holds like Rabbi Lozo, the Eidim Isira, since we have Eidim Isira, even though we don't have no Eidim in the Shtar whatsoever, it's a good Shtar, and therefore we could follow the Shtar, and it's a kosher Shtar, and we don't have to come to Chazaka. But Rab Shimon Gamliel holds like Rab Meir, who holds that Eidim, you need to have a good Shtar, you need to have Eidim written in the Shtar, and since the Shtar has no Eidim in the Shtar, it's a possible like a Shtar, it's no Raya, and therefore you need to come on to the Chazaka, and that's why Rab Shimon Gamliel says you only go after the Chazaka, not after the Shtar, because the Shtar doesn't prove anything. And that's a Bachloikis between Rabbi and Rab Shimon Gamliel, nothing to do with Oisius Niknes b'Mesira, and therefore there's no stira to what Rabbi said early on to explain that Rab Shimon Gamliel holds Oisius Niknes b'Mesira. Let's read the Gemara weiter. במודה בשטר שכתבו צריך לקיימו כמפלגי דרבי סבר מודה בשטר שכתבו אין צריך לקיימו ורב שמעון גמליאל סבר צריך לקיימו והאיפכא שמינא לו ותניא שניים אדוקים בשטר מלווה אומר שלי הוא ונפל ממני ומצאתיו ולווה אומר שלך ופרעתי לך ותקיים השטר בחותמיו דברי רבי רב שמעון גמליאל אומר יחלוקו ואבינן בא ולקי לרבי אחד אתנן שניים אוחזים בטלית זה אומר נמצאתיה וזה אומר נמצאתיה זה אישה בה שאין לו בה פחות מחציה וזה אישה בה לא שאין לה בה פחות מחציה ויחלוקו ואמר רב נחמן מקוים דכולם מלא פליגי דיחלוקו כי פליגי בשונו מקוים רבי סובר מודה בשטר שכתב צריך לקיימו ואם יקיים גבי פלגה והיא לא חסת בעלמו רב שמעון גמליאל סבר מודה בשטר שכתבו אין צריך לקיימו ויחלוקו אפו ויבותיהם על העולם לטפוך אלא אחא בלברר כמפלגי כעד רב יצחק בר יוסף אבי מסיק בזוזי ברב אבא עתה לקמת רב יצחק נפחא אמר לי פרעתיך בפלוני ופלוני אמר לי רבי יצחק יבואו את פלוני ופלוני ויעידו אמר לי הילה אותו לא מהם לה ויקרם אלן המלווה את חברו בעדים אינו צריך לפרעו בעדים אמר לי אנא באי כשמייתא דמר סבירה לי דאמר רב אבא אמר רב אחא אמר רב עדה בר אבא אמר רבא אומר לחברו פרעתיך בפני פלוני ופלוני צריך שיבואו פלוני ופלוני ויעידו אמר לי ואמר רב גידל אמר רב הלך כרב שמעון גמליאל ואף רבי לא אמר אלא לברר אמר לי אנא נמי לברר כאמינא. So says the Gemara, another way of explaining the machloikus over here between Rebbe and Rab Shimon ben Gamliel. So the way is the following. The machloikus is when the loiva admits that he wrote the shtar, but he says something's wrong in the shtar. I paid it off, or whatever he tainis it is. We had this early on. Do we need to be mekayim it? Do we say once he admits that you wrote the shtar, that's it, you can't have any other tainis, or we listen to Yitainis, say Yitaina afterwards? So therefore, the case over here, that Reuben has a shtar and a chazaka is talking about that the shtar that the Reuben has, it said that Shimon gave him, sold in the field. And now Shimon tainis, yes, I did write this shtar, but I never sold the field to Reuven. We're going to learn that you're allowed to write a shtar. We learned it early on. You write a shtar, even if to a seller, even if the lekech's not with him. So the Shimon Tain is, I wanted to sell the field to Reuven, so I wrote a shtar and I had Eidim on it, but I never actually gave it to Reuven at the end because he never bought off me the field. And Reuven says, and so how did? And Shimon says, you know how it's by Reuven the shtar? I lost the shtar, and Reuven found it, and now he's claiming it's his. So that's a machloikis. So Rebbe holds that because Shimon admits that he wrote the shtar, we don't need to be mekayim and find out if the shtar is really given over, and therefore it's a good shtar since Reuven's holding the shtar, and we follow the shtar. We don't need to come to chazaka. And Reb Shimon Gamliel holds no. Since Shimon's taining that he never gave the shtar over to Reuven, so if Reuven doesn't have Eidim that he gave over the shtar, you need to be mekayim the shtar, and if you're not mekayim the shtar, you can't follow the shtar. You have to go. The only proof of Reuven will be chazaka. that's a machlokes between Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel. So Rebbe holds moide b'shtar shekosvei ein tzorich l'kaimoi, and Reb Shimon Gamliel holds moide b'shtar shekosvei tzorich l'kaimoi. Sorry. Asa Gemara, but we know that Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel hold the opposite. How do we know that? We learned in a brisa, two people are holding a star, the loiva and the malva, holding the star. And the loiva says, I paid off the loan and I'm holding, the star was mine, and you came and grabbed it. Or it fell off me and you found it. And the malva says, no, you never paid me off a penny, and I lost the star and you found it, and they're both holding on the star. So it says, Rebbe holds Iskayim Ashtar b'choisman. That means if you can't prove that this is by the Eidim that this is a good star, so the loiva doesn't have to pay anything. And Reb Shimon Gamliel holds that he split the value of the star. Let's say it says in £1,000, so he only has to pay back £500. And we asked the Shaila on this, how does it make sense? Does Rebbe not hold of the first Mishnah in Baba Metzia that it says over there two people holding on to a talis, Reuven and Shimon? They both say, I found it. So we said the thing is, each one has to make a shvur. He owns at least half of the talis. Reuven makes such a shvur, and Shimon makes such a shvur, and they split up the talis into half, or the value of it. So why does Rebbe over here say Skai Mashtar b'choisman? Why doesn't he hold the Chaliki? Does he not hold of that Mishnah? And explains Rava in the name of Rav Nachman, if the star is a mekuyim, that means we know it's a good star, and the Eidim are good, were best in check, and it was a good star, and the Eidim are good Eidim, and therefore it's a good star. Everyone agree, Bein Rebbe, Bein Reb Shimon Gamliel agree that Yachloiku the value of the star, and he only has to pay half. When is the machloikis between Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel? It's talking about where the star that we would never mekayim the star. So Rebbe holds moide b'shtar shekosvei tzorich l'kaimoi, that because it's not mekuyim, so even though that the loiva admits that he wrote the star, but he says he paid it back. So until you not mekayim it, the star is not valuable until you don't bring the Eidim. And therefore, if you'll be mekayim it, if the malva will be mekayim the star that they're both holding on to it, so enochinami for sure you'll say achloiku the value of the star between the loiva and the malva. But if not, it's not mekuyim, it's just like a piece of paper. And therefore, the loiva doesn't have to pay anything. And Reb Shimon Gamliel holds, no, if the loiva admits that he wrote the star, but he has a time afterwards, you don't need to be mekayim it, and therefore, since it's already mekuyim by the Idas loiva, it's a good star, and therefore it's a good star, they're both holding on it, 50-50, yachloiku. So it's a stira here, it says that Rebbe holds, moide b'shtar shekosvei tzorich l'kaimoi, before Rebbe said, ein tzorich l'kaimoi. And Reb Shimon Gamliel is also stira here, he says, moide b'shtar shekosvei ein tzorich l'kaimoi, and before he said tzorich l'kaimoi, so how could he explain that the machlokes over here of Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel is about moide b'shtar shekosvei tzorich l'kaimoi? It's a stira to how we're explaining the other machlokes of Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel. On that, the Gemara answers, Epuch will turn over the shittus of Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel. I'm not sure if in the case by us of the brisa that we brought, or in the case of the Shnai Madukim B'Shtar, but we'll turn over an easy solution, and therefore it won't be a stira between Rebbe, and not between Reb Shimon Gamliel and Reb Shimon Gamliel. So the Gemara another teretz. Really, you don't need to turn over the shittus. And I'll explain you the machlokes by us about Nidin B'Shtar or Nidin B'Chazaka is not to do with moide b'shtar shekosvei tzorich l'kaimoi or not. It's talking about belevara. Because what's happening over here? Reuven says, I have a proof that this field's mine. Two proofs. One, I have a star, and two, I have chazaka. And now, the question is, do Bezdin tell Reuven, okay, now that you said you have two proofs, very good, you have here Eidei Chazaka that made, they've been 3 years. Since you said you have a star, please bring the star to Bezdin, we want to see it. That's Rebbe Shitta. So when Rebbe says in the Brisa, Abolidin B'Shtar, Chazaka Nidin B'Shtar, meaning Chazaka is not good enough. Since you claim that you have a star, you need to also bring the star to Bezdin, and it's not enough just to bring the Chazaka. And Reb Shimon Gamliel says, no, very good, he said he had a star Chazaka. Chazaka is good enough, Aryeh. We have Eidei Chazaka over here. Why should you need to bring the star to Bezdin? And when Reb Shimon Gamliel says bechazaka, it means chazaka is good enough. It's not that the star is not good. It means you don't need to bring the star. Chazaka is good enough. So the Gemara similar to the case of Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef, that Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef was owed money by Rav Abba. The case came in front of Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha, and Rav Abba said, I paid you back in front of these two Eidim. I paid you back the loan. What do you want? I paid you the loan back, and there were two Eidim, Reuven and Shimon, who saw me paying you back. So Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha said, who was a dayan, he said that, okay, you have Eidim, he said Reuven and Shimon saw you paying back the choiv. Please bring Reuven and Shimon to Bezdin to testify that you paid the choiv back. So Rav Abba told him, 1 second, and if I don't bring the Eidim, I'm not believed. But we know the halacha is that if someone took a loan with Eidim, not Bishtar, he doesn't need to pay back the loan with Eidim. He can pay back the loan without the Eidim. And therefore, even if I don't have Reuven and Shimon, I'm saying I paid back the loan. And therefore, even if I don't have Reuven and Shimon, I'm not bringing them. Why do I need to bring them to Bezdin? Why are you making me bring Reuven and Shimon to Bezdin? So Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha told him, I hold like Mar. That who's Mar? Mar is Rav. That Rav Abba, in the name of Rav Ada bar Abba said in the name of Rav, that someone who says to his friend, I paid you back in front of Eidim, Ploini, Reuven and Shimon, even though that if you say I paid you back not in front of Eidim, you don't need to prove it, but since you said you did it in front of Reuven and Shimon, you need to bring Reuven and Shimon to be made, and if not, we don't believe you. Since you said extra things and you said there were Eidim, bring those Eidim, and otherwise you're not believed. And therefore, since you said you paid in front of Eidim, please bring the Eidim to Bezdin. So he told him, Rav Abba answered Rav Yitzchok, but why? Rav Gidel said in the name of Rav, the halacha is like Rav Shimon Gamliel in the Machloikes by Yosef, nidun abolidun b'shtar chazaka, nidun b'shtar divrei Rebbe Shimon Gamliel b'chazaka, meaning Rav Paskin like Rav Shimon Gamliel, meaning, and we're learning that the Machloikes says in a case where he says I have chazaka and a star, and he has Eidim of a chazaka, does he also have to bring the star? And we pass Rav Shimon Gamliel, they don't have to bring the star, even though that he said extra words, and he said that he has a star. So also by us, very good, I said I did it in front of Eidim, I don't need to bring those Eidim, because we pass like Rav Shimon Gamliel. And even Rebbe, who argues in Rav Shimon Gamliel, says the Gemara Daf Kuf Ayin Amud Beis, only said that to be Midvar, the MS, you should bring the star. I'm learning like some Rishonim, not like Rashbam. That it means the Rebbe just said that to be Midvar the MS, Reuven should bring the star, but not that it's Ma'akev. And therefore also me, I shouldn't have to bring the Eidim. Even if you're Rebbe, only Lechatchila, but I don't need to. On that, Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha told him, also me, when I said that didn't really mean that you need to bring the Eidim, and if you won't bring the Eidim that you paid back, you'll be believed. You won't be believed. No, I'm just saying, Belevara, you said you paid in front of Eidim, so to be Belevara, that Mesas Advarim, please bring the Eidim to Bezdin. But Enochinami, if you won't bring the Eidim to Bezdin, we'll still believe you that you paid off your choiv. So it comes out that we have a few ways how to learn the Brisa of Abolid and Beshtar Chazaka, the Brisa on Kuf Samech Tes on base at the bottom. What's exactly the Machloikis over there? Is it Eide Mesira Karti, Eide Ksiva Karti? Is it Belevarer? Is it in Amoide Beshtar Sekos V'Tzoch Lekaime or not? Says a Mishnah Daf Kuf Ayin Amud Beis. Mi Shepara Miktzas Choyvoi. רבי יהודה אומר יחליף, רבי יוסי אומר יכתוב שובר. אמר רבי יהודה, נמצא זה צריך להיות שומר שוברו מן העכברים. אמר לה רבי יוסי, כך יפה לו ולא יירא כוחו של זה. So we have a case over here. Reuven took a loan from Shimon, Reuven the loiver, Shimon the malver, of £1,000. And now he paid off £500 of the loan. So we have a problem over here. If we leave the star by Shimon, so he's going to claim the full £1,000 in the future. And Reuven already paid £500 of the loan. If we give it back to the loiver, Reuven won't pay anything in the future, and he only paid 500. He still owes 500. So what do we do? So Rabbi Yehuda says we tear up the original star, and the Eidim, we're going to write a new star saying Reuven owes Shimon £1,000, £500, and the date of the star will be from the original date that the alvah happened. That's Shittas Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yossi says, no, we leave the shtar of £1,000 by Shimon, but we make Shimon write to Shoiva a receipt to Reuven that he paid off already £500. So Rabbi Yehuda told Rabbi Yossi, if so, it comes out that the loiva, Reuven, will have to keep this receipt very well from the mice, because if the mice eat up this receipt, Reuven will able to claim him the full £1,000, even though they owes only £500, and that's not right. Therefore, we should tear it up and write a new shtar. So Rabbi Yossi told him, yes, correct. You'll have to guard the shtar very good, and he'll be this receipt very good, and he'll be pressurized. And we don't want the Malva Shimon to lose. And the reason that Rashbam explains that Rabbi Yossi holds that the reason why the loiva why we don't care about the loiva being very careful of the shoiva is because the loiva is a bit of like a slave towards the malva, and we want the malva to have this full big shtar of £1,000, that the loiva should be pressurized to pay off the 500 that he still owes. We're going to see that also in the Gemara. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav, אין הלכה לא כרבי יהודה ולא כרבי יוסי, אלא בית דין מקרים השטר וכותבים לו שטר אחר מזמן ראשון. אמר לי רב נחמן לרב הונא, ואמרי לה רב ירמיה בר אבא לרב הונא, השמיע לי לרב ברייתא דתניא, עדים מקרים את השטר וכותבים לו שטר אחר מזמן ראשון, ועד הרבה. אמר לי, השמיע לי ולא עד הרבה. So we had again a machlokes the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda holds we tear up the original shtar and we write, and the Eidim could write a new shtar from the original date. The Eidim, it's an important point. And Rabbi Yossi holds no, we write a receipt. Comes Rav Huna in the name of Rav, and Rav was at the beginning of the Amoraim, so he could argue with the Tanoim. And he says the halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda and not like Rabbi Yossi. So what do we do, says Rav? We say, we tear up the shtar like Rabbi Yehuda says, but we can't write a new shtar from the original date if it's only Eidim. The only people who can write the original shtar from the original date is if it's a Besdin. The Besdin have a koyach to write a shtar today of £500 on a date from 2 months ago when the loan happened. But Eidim do not have that koyach, and therefore we don't go like Rabbi Yehuda. We go in the way of Rabbi Yehuda, but only Besdin has the ability to do that, not Eidim. So Rav Nachman told Rav Huna, and some people say it was Rav Irmi Bar Abba told Rav Huna, did Rav hear the brisa where it says clearly that the Eidim themselves tear up the shtar and write a new shtar from the original date? If you know that brisa that says that clearly, would Rav be choizer from where he said that the Eidim don't have such a koyach? So he told him, yes, Rav knew this brisa, and he argued, and he never changed his mind. He argues, he says, Eidim do not have a koyach to write a shtar from an earlier date, only Besdin, and therefore the only solution is that Besdin is going to write a shtar from on the smaller amount from the original date. I know the Gemara continues, but we're going to leave it here and learn it in the next year. I hope we finish Baba Basra on time, and I daven that we should remember all what we learned and be mekayim all what we learned, and we should be zoicha to learn Kol HaTorah Kula, Bavli, Yerushalmi, Tanakh, everything. Thank you very much.